Hey guys, it's Tuesday and this is the last part of our baby making series. Today we're going to talk about eating healthy, wearing healthy with Lisa Grant, and I'm going to try to bring her on here. She's not on yet, so we'll just wait a little bit. But over the past 4 weeks, we had gone over the different aspects of preparing for our baby. This isn't just so much about the fertility or trying to make a baby. It's also about, keeping your reproductive organs healthy and what Chinese medicine can help you do with managing it, especially if you have pain or you're just thinking about getting off birth control. These are some things that aren't widely known. Like, I definitely didn't know this before I started acupuncture school, and it's something that we both, Lisa and I, work on with our patients, and it's it's something to talk about, and we're happy to share it with you in this series. So Lisa's on, so I'm going to bring her on and try again. Hey Lisa, let me see if I can get you on here. Not sure what's going on. Hey Lisa, are you still on here? Try to request yourself into the feed. Oh, there you are. Ooh, you were just... There we go. Yes. We're adding you.
Hello.
Hey Lisa, how's it going?
It's good. Going well. How are you?
Good, thanks.
We have
Um,
Maya
so,
again.
oh, hi, kitty. So cute. So we're just wrapping up our final talk with you today.
Yep.
Here with Lisa Grant of Spring Mountains Wellness, Fertility and Wellness, over in Las Vegas, and we're going to talk about eating healthy and wearing healthy today. Hey, Chen. And we're super excited about this because, we've been talking about lifestyle over the past 4 or 5 weeks already, and it's such a integral part of, how to keep things healthy in our body. And we talk about this with our patients just because, whatever you're eating or putting on your skin has an effect on how it's going to affect your insides. So
Oh, yeah.
that can definitely cause some of the symptomology, like especially if it's something like you have sensitivity to, or
Mm-hmm.
you might not even have an awareness about it until you're just like, oh, why am I itchy, or why am I bloated, why am I having these cramps, why am I having menstrual pain, why
Mm-hmm.
am I not getting pregnant, or or you might even have like hormonal issues that arise,
Mm-hmm.
such as PCOS or other things that can cause infertility. So we're gonna dive right in. So yeah, Lisa, like when you talk to your patients about lifestyle changes, what do you begin with?
Um, Food. It's the
Food,
beginning and the
yeah.
ending, I think. Yeah. Because look, food is what turns into, body and hair and hormones and brain and, tissue and bone and muscle and all that stuff. I mean, food is the foundation for everything that we turn into. And and so if what is going in is garbage, what is going to come out will be garbage. So, a big piece of what we talk about is what is good food and what is bad food. And you would think it was a simple conversation, and it's obvious, but it's not, because we have so many, it's not a simple conversation because we have so many messages, so many traditions, so many things that we were taught as children that we unconsciously mimic from how we grew up. And, our understanding of healthy food has changed so much in, the past few years, much less the last few decades or the last 100 years. It's just, it's our understanding of how food changes everything in terms of health and fertility and skin health is constantly evolving. Um, it's like I've heard it said by nutrition experts that we are in the midst of the biggest mass scale experiment in terms of what food quality does to health ever in the history of the world, because we have all of these, and I say this word with quotes around it, food products available to us these days. But just because it's convenient or it's simple doesn't necessarily mean that it's actually healthy. So food really is the foundation of where good health is going to start, and you can't have good fertility without good health. So that's where I start talking about it. What about you? What do you start talking about with your patients when you're talking lifestyle stuff, and working with their skin?
So with skin, like a lot of stuff pops up in the skin just due to digestion issues.
Okay.
So if you're not processing the food, whether it's good food or bad food, like through your system, it's going to show up on
Uh-huh.
your skin already. So that can mean that you can have like cysts come up, you can have whiteheads, more oil production, dryness in your skin. So like a lot of times, like I'll
Okay.
start off with talking just about digestion um, if it's something to do with their skin health, but that also
Okay.
plays a part on the inside too. So I start there, and then we kind of whittle it down into, what foods that they're eating, or even
Okay.
like the things that they put on their skin.
Uh-huh.
Because sometimes, like, I have patients that come in and they technically eat like a really clean diet, but
Uh-huh.
their digestion's completely off. Like
Okay.
they're having like symptomologies such as like gas, bloating, they're tired all the
Mm-hmm.
time, but
Hmm.
they just think, oh yeah, I'm eating kale and quinoa and
So it's
with
healthy. So it's good for me.
it,
Right.
and so like if you take all of that apart, like, what is good food? Like we're not gonna really tell you what is good food for you, like because everybody is different
Right.
to eat on here, but um, I think just bringing that awareness to, okay, what can you yourself eat where you can digest it
Right.
the most
Right.
effectively? And just being also aware of, okay, what is, how it's sourced and like how
Mm-hmm.
it's been grown. I think that's the most important part because, like you and I have both gone through Chinese medical school, and like we talk about food therapy there, which is
Right.
one thing. And you can talk about the energetics of food, you can talk about the temperatures of food, you can talk about all of these natures of food,
Right.
but whether or
Right.
not that actually works for your body, like that's another story.
Right.
And I think that is something that makes the conversation with patients a little difficult because you have to take into consideration, okay, what is actually happening to the body and how
To your
your
body.
body's
Right.
processing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
person's body, not,
Right.
like
Right.
if you're coming in and you're just like, okay, I have these issues, like say I'm a patient that comes in with PCOS, and she's overweight, she's tired, she's growing hair, in different
Mm-hmm.
places than
Mm-hmm.
what she would like. Um, we talk definitely about digestion. We talk about the period. We talk about all sorts of things that, you know, to develop this picture of how Chinese medicine can help,
Mm-hmm.
because we diagnose based on patterns. And, like, from one girl who has PCOS to another girl who has PCOS, like those patterns can be dramatically different.
Right.
And so that's where I start.
Okay.
Is just, really digging deep and seeing, okay, how is your body metabolizing and processing, the foods that you're eating, and
Right.
going from there. Like, if we can strengthen the digestive system first, then we talk more about, like, okay, what you're going to put in there. So that's kind of how I go about it. But yeah, it's just, I think with, like the different diets that everybody is
Mm-hmm.
like going crazy about, like the whole
Yeah.
food diet with the, keto diet. And I mean, these are like paleo, and there's so many of them right now. And there's even like this carb cycling diet, which
What? Okay, that's new. That one I don't
oh
know
my
about.
god,
That one I haven't heard come into my door yet.
oh
So
my goodness.
I would like to say this, okay? Because I've looked into this, because I have patients who will come to me and say, so is keto good? And the
Mm-hmm.
research that I've done on this, the answer is no. It's too restrictive. It's too problematic. And remember, the whole point of what we're trying to do is build fertility, and in my mind, building fertility is building a lifestyle that works, because the object of the exercise is not just to get pregnant, it's to stay pregnant and to be healthy through this process as much as possible. And diets don't work because, especially if they're super restrictive, you're not going to be able to sustain it. So that's one thing, is that it's got to be a lifestyle change, not a diet, because diets, you can't stick to them. Okay.
Yeah.
And the thing about keto, and I can't think of the research, like what it specifically said off the top of my head, but part of what happens with keto is that it is so restrictive. It does something to the quality of the eggs that we're trying to promote and develop. And
Okay.
I can't recall what it is, and so I guess I'll have to go look it up again. But it was a big topic of discussion on one of the fertility the fertility board that we have for acupuncturists who specialize in fertility. And the what we heard from one of the reproductive endocrinologists who is actually on the board is keto is problematic for fertility.
Interesting.
Paleo is sort of a big step back from keto. And depending, like you said, it depends on the pattern, it depends on what the woman is dealing with. Depending on the woman's specific issues, paleo can be a really important thing. Okay. I find that paleo, for my patients who have PCOS, guiding them and saying, you want to eat paleo like, is helpful, because there are some good recipes out there for, for paleo diets and lifestyle that make it so that they don't feel quite so deprived. And it fits within most of the guidelines of what it is that I want my patients with PCOS to do. Okay. But
Yeah.
there is no, so I'll tell them paleo-ish, the one that makes no sense to a lot of people is when I say paleo plus grains, and they're like, wait, what? But because what it is it's based on my understanding of what their body needs. And one of the beautiful things that I like about paleo is that it really emphasizes vegetables and good protein, and those are important. Those are really important. So if you've got a patient who's coming in, if I've got a woman who's coming in and she has no clue how to eat really well, giving them kind of a framework to then hang things on and then start to modify it from there, at least they don't go home wondering, what am I going to eat? I have no idea what I'm going to eat.
Yeah.
So, so I find that some of those diets that are out there, that tend more towards being a lifestyle plan rather than a diet, are helpful frameworks. But that's what they are. They're
Yeah.
frameworks. They're not the be all and end all, because every body is different. Every woman is different, and her fertility concerns are going to be different. So we're going to need to make modifications, but it's really nice that I don't have to go and try and like write a cookbook on top of everything else. If I've got a diet out there or a lifestyle nutrition plan out there where I can say, okay, this is what you want to do, and these are the pieces that I want you to change on that. So, but yeah, and what is healthy may not necessarily be helpful for fertility, and those are not the same thing all the time. You know, I've got patients who are vegan, and I got to tell you, veganism is tough on fertility. It's really hard on fertility. So that's something that, you know, we have to work on in terms of trying to, if we can, I try and respect that choice. But for some women, especially based on like blood work that I'm getting back and looking at the basal body temperature chart and stuff, if I'm looking at it and I'm like, this is not going to happen. You know, we need to talk about diet in terms and food in terms of therapeutics. Often when I speak of it as food as medicine and food as working with my patient to get to where she wants to go in terms of fertility, often that will change the conversation because it is no longer just a wish, you know, this is what I would like, this is a lifestyle I would like to lead. I can point to the places where it's creating problems for their fertility, and then we can have a discussion about what do we want to do, you know, what approaches do we have available in order to be able to try and, you know, rectify the issues that it's creating in terms of the fertility. You know, as much as possible, I try and respect the choices that patients are making, but ultimately they're coming to me, to you as experts to reach this other goal that they have that isn't working. They're not getting there on their own. So then we have to have a serious conversation about how are different lifestyle choices impacting what's going on. And food is huge. Food is absolutely enormous. Food is, you know, I tell my patients, look, food is the foundation of this. And if the foundation isn't solid, then it's a lot harder for us to direct your body in the right direction, and your emotions and your spirit in the direction that we want to for fertility, because we're missing pieces. And if we don't have those pieces, then, you know, I can't guarantee that I can never guarantee that I can get a patient pregnant, but I will tell them this is where it's going to compromise what it is that we're trying to do. So, and
Well, I think
often, what's that?
yeah, I like what you're talking about, because I think sometimes, like, I mean, I have definitely been there where I have been on very restrictive diets, and
I think we
just
all
because
have.
of, yeah,
Mhm.
just because of you know, how it's affecting my body, or just because it's like, no, I don't want to eat that because it does this, da, 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 da. Like
Right,
whatever reasons, you know,
right,
our beliefs are about that product, um, or, you know, like the way that we prepare food, or, you know, this and that. But, you know, just
hmm
because something works for somebody isn't going to work for you. And
correct.
um, and so that's where, you know, you and I come into the equation, where it's like, okay, what's actually going on? Like,
Right,
you
right.
seemingly are doing all these things, but something's not going right. And
hmm
so how can we help you, re-guide you on a different path
hmm
to get to
Right,
your goal?
right.
Um,
Yeah.
so,
Basically, the patient's body and emotions and spirit are the ultimate arbiter of what actually works and what doesn't. And our body doesn't give us symptoms for no reason. Our body is trying to tell us what it needs and what's going on, or what it doesn't need, as the case may be. And so part of what I think our training does is it helps us teach our patients how to listen to what their body is saying, and sort of decipher that and decode it so that they can eat and live in a way that is healthy for them, to help them reach these these goals and these dreams that they have. So, you know, and it's always my patient's ultimate decision, always. And if they make a decision, I can say, okay, so this is where this is going to get us. This is where it's going to be good. This is where it's going to be undermining what we're trying to do. And if that's what they want to do, then that's their choice. I will support them. So, but with the understanding that, they now understand the consequence or the benefit or the disadvantage for whatever decision that they're making. It's because it's,
Exactly.
right,
Exactly.
right.
Yeah. So
So you
go
first.
ahead, Lisa.
Okay. Well, what I wanted to ask was, so we've talked about food and what patients are, putting into their body. And we can do a little bit more about that because there is one other piece of that I wanted to address. But I want to hear about what we put on our body, because that is something that I think a lot of women don't think about, is the effect of what you're putting on your skin and what it can do to your health and your fertility health.
Yeah. So since I love working with clients that come in for skin stuff, just because I do the facial rejuvenation as part of my
Mm-hmm.
practice,
Mm-hmm.
I have noticed that, there's no, well, I think there's becoming more awareness about what you actually put on your skin nowadays,
Okay.
like with the um, like products coming out with like no sulfates or no
Mm-hmm.
parabens, or you know things that don't have those things in there. But
Right.
there's also the other part of that is that some of the products do have things that are like them in
Ah,
these products, and that's a completely different conversation. But just having the awareness that just because
okay.
these products don't have like SLS in them, like sodium
Right.
lauryl sulfate, they're that's what makes like your shampoos or your like soaps, Sud and Lather, really nicely.
Okay.
There are going to be replacements for them in different products, and
So
they're going to be called
so it
something else.
doesn't say SLS, but it has something that is effectively like SLS, so you're still in the same place that you were before.
Possibly,
Okay.
possibly. So
Okay.
there's uh, so there's this group called the Environmental um, Working
Working
Group,
group.
work group.
I love
Yes,
them. I love them. They are
and
amazing as a resource.
they are, they are. So a lot of the products that are out there now are being evaluated by EWG, and you can see like what the products are made out of, and then you can go research it and see like what that has um, on different levels. Like they'll talk about, is this toxic for your health? Is this, how does this affect you on these different levels? And then they'll
Okay.
give you like a rating from A to F or whatever, um, just based on these products that are being used in, um, or chemicals that are being used in these products, I should
Okay.
say. And
Okay.
so yeah, so I also sell this line of product called Arbonne, and they've eliminated a whole bunch of um, chemicals from the products that they produce as well. And it's something that I like, just because they've this product has undergone a lot of testing. Also, like they get screened by some of the um, regulated regulations or regulators in different countries, just to give you an idea of how clean their products are. But there are also other products out there that are clean too. So like when we talk about clean, like it's just taking out. Lisa, are you still there? Products that are out there, they no, we just lost Lisa. Where is she? Um, Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna keep on going on until she gets back on here. But yeah, basically the products that are out there, they get screened, and you can find out on the EWG whether or not these products are going to be helpful for you. But also the products are Also the chemicals, like you have to keep in mind like how they're, doing their research on these chemicals too. So sometimes people will use them in products just because there's like a low threshold on how it's. Um, there we go. Hi, Chen. Hi, Lisa. Okay. Um,
Hey,
I,
nice.
hi. Sorry, I got distracted and saw that you kind of froze. But so,
I'm
hi. Yeah, so we're just kind of talking about like the EWG still. Did you catch that part before you?
Yeah, and I did. And I love them because they have so much good information about, what's in our food or in products that we don't necessarily know about. And I actually give that to patients as a resource. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I had a question about the Arbonne because I was doing some reading over the weekend. And one of the things that I did not know about skincare products is how terrible the class of things on that's on labels call it just fragrance. Fragrance pretty much has either phthalates or phthalate-like substances in them, and phthalates are terrible for fertility because it basically compromises the DNA and does all sorts of other stuff. So one of the things that I was reading said anything that has added fragrance, you need to avoid unless it's from essential oils or something like that. So
Mm-hmm.
do you know if the Arbonne has added fragrances in their products?
They list them on there as
Okay.
they use a lot of essential oils in their products,
Okay.
and
Good.
though,
Good.
and they also have a list. Um,
Okay.
we're just talking about this particular product line because I know it. But they
Right.
have a list of the things that they use in their products, and
Okay.
you can actually access that list to see. Okay, say you have a wheat gluten allergy, for
Right.
example.
Okay.
So you can type in wheat or gluten in there and it'll show up. Okay, these products, these certain products have wheat or gluten in
Huh.
those products. Like it
Okay.
will show you which ones that have it, for
Okay.
example. And then like soy is a huge thing too, that some people are really allergic to.
Right. Right.
Skincare. And so like if you just type in soy in there, like it'll tell you like what products have it, what they don't, or so you can
That's a
like
really useful
actually see.
function. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. So they basically make their products based on um, these guidelines that are set by different countries. I think Australia has one of the most strict regulations on skincare
Okay.
as well as supplements,
Okay.
um, and compared to the U.S., the
Right.
U.S. is very lenient
Yes.
in comparison to the regulations and standards that some other countries have, such as Germany and Australia. So,
Right.
um, and since this is a international brand, like they're trying to, be sold in different countries, so they have to meet these regulations, and so they have
Right.
very, very high standards that they abide by. So that's one thing. When you look into products like such as like your over-the-counter products that you find at your convenience store, like look at them and see, okay, do I know any of these products? Like, does it make sense to
Right.
me? And
Right.
even when you talk about the fragrance, like, yes, you don't know what the fragrance is gonna be. Like, is it gonna be natural? Who knows? Is it gonna be synthetic? Probably. Even
Right.
perfumes, like a lot of perfumes that are out there, like in that are on the market, like the big name brands that a lot of people love, like they're made out of synthetic
Yeah.
fragrances. And
And one of the things I think it would be helpful to mention is that the problem with synthetic fragrances and synthetic, the various chemicals, is that they most of them belong to a class of chemicals called endocrine disruptors.
hmm
And the endocrine disruptors interfere with your body's ability to talk to itself through hormones. Our bodies talk to itself through the nervous system. That's how your brain talks to, like, your muscles. But then you have a second communication system in your body, called the endocrine system. And the endocrine system, what happens is, it's hormonal signaling, and fertility is all about hormonal signaling. And if you've got chemicals that mimic estrogen or mimic testosterone, and those are the two biggest class of disruptors, it actually turns off the biofeedback between, your body and your brain and your ovaries and your uterus, so that your hormonal balance is correct. And that'll compromise your fertility, and that'll compromise the signaling within cells in terms of what it is that they need to do specifically for an egg to develop. So endocrine disruptors are really, really, really bad news for fertility. And one of the reasons that sperm counts have gotten so low. Did you know that male sperm counts have decreased by 50% worldwide since the 80s? That's an
yeah,
incredible number. That's insane. Okay. And one of the culprits is the endocrine disruptors. And the endocrine disruptors are those same chemicals that are giving frogs in some places, two heads and eight legs and all that weird stuff. Because what it does is it interferes with the body's ability to develop normally, and use the hormones to talk, or to signal what should be happening. So that's why the environmental working groups work is so important. Chemicals are problematic because most of the chemicals out there, we don't actually have any kind of real data in terms of its impact on fertility. We are beginning to understand that specific classes of chemicals, like phthalates, are a huge problem because of the endocrine disruption that they create. So that's why we're kind of talking about, we need about this, and the synthetic hormones and the synthetic chemicals in this talk on, eating well, um, eating healthy, wearing healthy, is because
hmm
food and what you put on your skin are the biggest vectors for these outside synthetic chemicals entering the body, and thereby, unbeknownst to you or the patient, are changing what your hormones are telling your eggs and your sperm to do, and therefore compromise your fertility, and compromise skin health. So that's why it's so important to be more aware of what you're putting in your body and on your body, is because that will shift how your body is actually telling your ovaries and your testicles to do what it is that they're doing. And um, men are not uh, also need to be aware of this. It's because,
yeah, you need to be aware of this.
it's like men products. It's like they wear cologne. We say perfume, but the same thing that we say about perfume applies to cologne. It's the chemicals that are in there, depending on the class of chemicals, have a very high likelihood of impacting fertility. And that's important.
hmm Yeah, it is. Um, that brings me back to last week too. Last week you said something about like some of the um, lubricants that, like for
Yep.
sex, like
Right.
actually have a spermicidal effect, and they're not stated on
Right.
the bottle itself. And
Right.
so,
Right.
what I guess for the purpose of letting your listeners know, what would you say like your top one or two lubes would be, like if you absolutely need lube?
Yeah. Proceed is safe. Proceed is the one that most, it's PROSEED.
hmm
It's a really cute play on words if you think about it. You can proceed with sex. Um, it's um, it's safe because it is specifically tested to be sperm friendly. There's nothing in it that's going to compromise sperm. The other one that patients have used is Sliquid, and that's natural too. It's not that other products are spermicidal per se. They're not advertised as spermicidal. The problem is that they compromise sperm ability to do what it's supposed to do to help the couple get pregnant. And often it's the compounds that are in there that are compromising things. So it's not advertised as a spermicide because that's not the function of it, but it has compounds in it or chemicals in it that can compromise fertility. So that's when we talked about that last week. That's what I meant was it's not advertised as spermicidal, but it has compounds in there that impede fertility.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, for our listeners too, like if you haven't already listened to the other ones, that other baby making
Mm-hmm.
talks that we've had, 1 through 4, go ahead and check them out because we talk about this too, like how what conception's like and all the little things that lead up to conception, from how the sperm move and why you need cervical mucus for it to happen. So yeah, check
Right.
it out. But yeah, I like this talk, today, just because it's something, we're talking about the things that we put inside our body and apply on our body. And I think, we're always trying to eat and look the way that mainstream media's like shown us. And
Right.
sometimes that compromises our own health, just because
Right.
it's like health can be advertised in so many different ways, but when you get down to the nitty gritty of, okay, how does it really compromise your health? Like nobody really talks about it.
Right. Right.
And
Right. Right.
um, I really appreciate, like, there is information out there, but it's all over the place. It's not just in one place where you can like access it and just like,
Right.
okay, I'm gonna read this right now, and then I
Right.
understand
Right.
what's going
Right.
to happen if I
Well,
do these things to myself.
right. And fertility is really complicated because of all of the hormonal signaling that's necessary and, building a foundation of a healthy egg and healthy sperm. I mean, if you think about it, fertility is about creating a whole new human being. So yeah, it's gonna be complicated. And just the breadth and depth of the research that's out there, and it's always changing. It's hard for an individual person to keep up with if this isn't what they do for a living, which is, why going to an acupuncturist who works with fertility can be really important, because we are working on improving your overall health and the fertility. And then based on sort of where that's working or how that's working for the patient, sometimes I do have to refer my patients to IVF. There are certain conditions that we can't get enough traction on to help them do this naturally. That is always my goal, but I can't guarantee it. And sometimes IVF is the only answer. But there are so many things that patients and couples can do to improve their fertility health, so that when they go into IVF, they've got a much better outcome and they've got a much better likelihood of actually getting not just one embryo, but multiple embryos that will allow them to actually build the family that they want, hopefully without having to go through IVF more than once. I mean, that's what I tell my patients. It's like, look, if we got to do the IVF, I only want you to have to do it once. Because it is a grueling process for the woman. It basically costs the same amount as first year of college tuition. So it's like, let's only do this once so that you can start putting away for money for college, as opposed to putting money towards trying to get the kid. And one thing that I think most patients have a sort of a basic understanding of is what they eat makes a difference. But within that, okay, what does help fertility? Every woman is different, every couple is different. So what is good for one person, as you mentioned before, may not necessarily be better, good for another woman. And just because one woman found success with a specific, I don't know, smoothie recipe doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to work for the other woman. So by spending time looking at the research on this, by constantly educating ourselves, we are positioned to be able to help our patients make good choices based on not only Western medicine research, but also our understanding of patterns in our and Chinese medicine and the holistic approach that Chinese medicine has to help improve their fertility so that things are going to move closer towards where our patients want to go. And that's why, when we talked about this last topic of eating healthy, wearing healthy is something that I have only really recently begun to explore. And even a lot of my colleagues who specialize in fertility acupuncture don't necessarily know a whole lot about how all of the products that are out there are going to affect fertility. And so it's really important, I think, to have our patients understand that, the skin is the biggest organ in the body, and what you put on it gets absorbed. Often that's why we're putting things on our skin, because we want them to get absorbed, right?
Right.
To help. But what we don't understand is the connection between a lot of the chemicals that are in products that are used by patients commercially, because we don't think about it, and the link to fertility. And so, and yes, Arbonne, the company of Arbonne has come up, and that's because you work with them, and because I'm really excited about that tool where you can plug things in and find out like what's specifically in there, because that's really helpful. Because I
Yeah.
do have patients who come in and like they need to stay soy free and they need to stay gluten free for whatever issue they have, whether it's because they're celiac or because they're gluten sensitive or soy products. Soy is really bad for women who have endometriosis. It's like I forbid soy products to my patients with endometriosis because it actually acts like fuel on the fire of endometriosis. But until you said it, I hadn't thought about the fact that, oh, well, of course they're putting soy in products.
Yeah.
So,
It's
so
so common, like corn, soy, and wheat. Like they're in
they're in everything.
so many different things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So knowing that what you put on your body is very, very, very likely going to be absorbed and put into your body in a way. And because hormonal signaling happens on the nanogram level, I mean, it's minuscule, minuscule, minuscule amounts. It doesn't take a whole lot to throw things off balance. So, while international companies like Arbonne will have a really good function in terms of being able to search for ingredients, moving to products that are more natural, that you can actually, when you read the label, you understand what's on it. Don't
oh, we lost you, Lisa. Oh man. Okay. Where are you? So we're gonna wait for her to come back. There she is. Hey, Lisa. Let's try again. Hmm. Okay, I don't know what's going on, but anyway, what Lisa was talking about with the Arbonne having like being an international company, like it, and moving towards products that are more natural, and you know what they are. It's better for your skin, and just knowing like the things that you put in your body and on your skin is going to make it easier for you to figure out, okay, what am I actually reacting to versus having a whole bunch of products that you're just like, okay, I don't even know what's causing the issue. So let me see. It looks like Lisa's on, and then she just popped off. But anyway, I think we might just wrap up here in the next few minutes, just because I think we're having some connectivity issues. So that's it. And if you guys are interested in any Arbonne products, this month is a really great month to buy, just because there's no sign-up fee, and there's a great special out there for the RE9 anti-aging products that they're known for. And I actually started using those like a few years ago, just because my skin was breaking out all the time. Like, I had cysts, and yeah, over time I had been using them, and those really, really helped with turning over the quality of my skin. Is a lot smoother, not as dry, and I don't fight with blackheads or whiteheads as much anymore. So, okay, Lisa's back on. Let's try to add her on. This has been really fun doing this series with you guys. I hope you have learned a lot, and we've definitely have learned from each other. So, hey, Lisa. So,
Hey, I am not sure what's going on. I am so sorry. It's like my phone just keeps going black. I think I dropped it yesterday. I'm thinking maybe more got broken than I realized,
uh-oh.
despite my ultra awesome OtterBox. Yeah, we may want to wrap it up because I don't know when it's going to die again.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap up. I just
So
told them about
sorry.
my experience with Arbonne and how it's turned over my skin from being
Mhm.
like broken out all the time, and it's really changed my life for the better. So, um, anyway, this has been a pleasure working with you and doing these talks with you,
It has
Lisa.
been
It's been so
fabulous. I have
fun.
enjoyed it so much.
Yeah. So, yeah, so we're just gonna wrap up, and I hope you guys have liked this. If you guys like it, please share it. And if you have questions for either Lisa or myself, DM us and we will help you out. So
Absolutely.
have a great
Thank
day.
you much. Everybody have a good day. Bye.
Bye.